figure in the city's vibrant art scene.
So already, even with, coming out of Impressionism and post-Impressionism, here he is giving, definitely he's got a blue theme to this painting. And, pushing more of a very simplistic way of seeing things, a little more stylized. You can see it start coming. His idea of pushing style first. You can see it in his early blue period here.
Several major art movements, including Cubism, Surrealism, and abstract expressionism. He was a prolific artist who produced thousands of paintings, sculptures, and
so he wasn't only a Cubist. Everybody knows him as that, but he really precedes Surrealism, and he's not the only artist that ever preceded Surrealism. You can go all the way back to Harmonius Bosch, way back. That was very surrealistic. So, but you could see these artists. He's giving them permission, really, to go on, and it's just not even a generation later. Salvador Dali and a lot of surrealists take the bull by the horns, shall we say? But you can see how this is pushing Cubism, pushing Surrealism, abstraction, all fused into one artist.
Constantly seeking ways to push the boundaries of artistic expression. Pablo Picasso had a tumultuous personal life and was known for his relationships with women and his many affairs. He was married twice and had 4 children. Picasso's first marriage was to Olga Koplo, a Russian dancer he met in 1917. The couple were married in 1918 and had a son in 1921. However, the marriage was unhappy and the couple eventually separated in 1935. They remained legally married until Olga's death in 1955. Picasso's second marriage was to Jacqueline Rowe, a French woman he met in the 1950s. The couple were married in 1961 and remained together until Picasso's death in 1973. They had no children together. Throughout his life, Picasso had many affairs and relationships with other women, and he fathered several children outside of his marriages. He was known for being a charismatic figure, and he had a reputation for being a ladies' man. He died in Mougins, France in 1973 at the age of 91. Pablo Picasso was a prolific artist who produced thousands of paintings over the course of his long career. Some of his most...
Right, so I always consider him kind of the Michelangelo of modern art, in the sense that he's just a powerhouse and he breeds all of this different kind of art. And all of these artists look up to him, and even now, but look, especially in his own generation and many generations to come, and they take pieces of his work and make a whole career on them. So he's just this breeder. Certain artists that we call breeders in a generation, or shall we say a movement in art. So this would be the, we'll just call it the post-modern movement, or I'm sorry, the post-impressionist movement. And let's see, yeah. Let's move on here.
Famous paintings include Les Demoiselles d'Avignon. This painting is considered a masterpiece of modern art and a key work in the development of Cubism. It depicts 5 women in a brothel in the Spanish city of Avignon, and it was...
So you see how he's not, it's not trying to work with perspective or light and shadow or form or any of these things that artists were trying to do before. It's moving on into pure style, just pure style. And then as far as meaning goes, conceptual meaning, I mean, it's just strange and confusing, and touches on all of these weird emotions that we have that are obscure. He really captures all these strange perspectives.
Representing human form. Guernica. This painting was created
That's
in the bombing of the Spanish
definitely a masterpiece
during the Spanish Civil War. It is a powerful
period to such I mean, and very form oriented here, no, almost classical. And then he goes into a straight graphic,
Picasso was living in
very flat
and was struggling to make a living
cubist
as an
style.
artist. His paintings from this period are
Huh.
characterized by their somber, muted blue tones and their themes of isolation, loneliness, and poverty. The blue period was a time of great personal and artistic struggle for Picasso, and his paintings from this time reflect his difficult emotional state. Many of the paintings from this period depict people who are marginalized, such as beggars, street musicians, and the poor. The blue color palette serves to convey a sense of sadness and melancholy. Some of the most famous paintings from Picasso's blue period include The Old Guitarist, La Vie, and The Blue Room. These paintings are considered some of the most important works of the blue period and are highly valued by collectors and art enthusiasts. The Rose period is a term used to describe the paintings produced by Pablo Picasso between 1904 and 1906. During this time, Picasso's art began to shift away from the somber, muted tones of his blue period, and he began to use more cheerful colors, such as pink, yellow, and orange. The paintings from this period are often characterized by their playful, circus-like themes and their use of bright, warm colors. The Rose period was a time of great artistic creativity for Picasso, and he produced a large number of paintings, sculptures, and other works of art during this time. Many of the paintings from this period depict circus performers, harlequins, and other whimsical subjects. The use of bright, warm colors serves to convey a sense of joy and optimism, and the paintings from this period are often seen as a contrast to the more somber works of the blue period. Some of the most famous paintings from Picasso's Rose period include The Family of Saltimbanque and Young Ladies of Avignon. These paintings are considered some of the most important works of the Rose period and are highly valued by collectors and art enthusiasts. Pablo Picasso was greatly influenced by African art and primitivism, and this influence is evident in his paintings from the period 1907 to 1909. During this time, Picasso became interested in the art of Africa and the so-called primitive cultures of Oceania and the Americas. He was drawn to the expressive, simplified forms and bold, flat color schemes of these art traditions, and he began to incorporate these elements into his own art. The paintings from this period are characterized by their distorted, abstracted forms and their use of bold, flat areas of color. Many of the paintings from this period depict figures with exaggerated, mask-like faces and elongated limbs. The influence of African art and primitivism is also evident in Picasso's use of bright, decorative patterns and his interest in depicting ritual and ceremonial subjects. Some of the most famous paintings from this period include Les Demoiselles d'Avignon and The Young Ladies of Avignon. These paintings are considered some of the most important works of the African art and primitivism period and are highly valued by collectors and art enthusiasts. Synthetic cubism is a term used to describe the paintings produced by Pablo Picasso and Georges Braque between 1912 and 1919. During this time, the two artists developed a new approach to the cubist style that they had pioneered in the early 20th century. In synthetic cubism, the artists simplified the geometric shapes and flat planes of their earlier cubist works and began to incorporate more recognizable forms into their compositions. They also began to use a wider range of materials and techniques, such as collage, papier call, and stenciling. These new techniques allowed the artists to create more complex, layered compositions that incorporated a
So
wider
it's almost like they're at this point they're realizing that they can do anything they want. They're, it's up to them to decide what they want to do. So they just go forward and start moving into areas where you really never saw anything considered as art like this before. But when the artist says it's art, it's art. I mean, that's very, very bold, compared to what would be in the past.
Well, they were just doing art for art's sake and weren't really concerned if they could make a living from it, I would assume.
Yeah, yeah.
When you have to please the public if you needed to make a living from it.
Right, yeah. It's a very different attitude in art.
range of textures and patterns. The paintings from this period
Wow.
are characterized by their use of bright, bold colors and their incorporation of recognizable, recognizable forms. Many of the paintings from this period depict still lifes and landscapes, and they often include elements of collage and papier-calle. Some of the most famous paintings from this period include guitar and still life with chair caning. These paintings are considered some of the most important works of synthetic cubism and are highly valued by collectors and art enthusiasts. During the period from 1919 to 1929, Pablo Picasso's art underwent a number of significant changes, and he was influenced by a number of.
Look how it goes from, I mean, look how modeled, let's see, the forms are on her. You know, this is almost Poussin, like classical.
And it probably looks a lot like the model, whereas
Sure.
some of the other, I guess what we'd call abstract, you don't even know if it depicts the model at all, other than
No, he's not even trying to. Right.
yeah.
Movements. One of
Look
the
at
main
that.
influences on Picasso was an avid collector of African and oceanic art, and he was heavily influenced by these traditional art forms. He was a skilled draftsman and could draw with great detail and accuracy when he wanted to, but he often preferred to work in a more spontaneous and expressive style. Picasso was known for his love of practical jokes and had a mischievous sense of humor. He had a close friendship with the French writer and poet Guillaume Apollinaire, and the two men were influential figures in the Parisian art scene. Picasso was a talented actor and appeared in several films, including Jean Cocteau's The Testament of Orpheus. He was a skilled ceramicist and worked with ceramics late in his career, producing a number of beautiful and highly sought-after ceramic works. Many of Pablo Picasso's paintings can be seen in museums and art galleries around the world. Some of the places where his works are on display include the Picasso Museum in Paris, France. This museum is dedicated to the work of Pablo Picasso and houses a large collection of his paintings, sculptures, and other works of art. The Museo Picasso in Barcelona, Spain. This museum is located in Picasso's hometown of Barcelona and features a comprehensive collection of his works, including paintings, drawings, and prints. The Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City, USA. The Metropolitan Museum of Art has a large collection of Picasso's works, including paintings, sculptures, and drawings. The Tate Modern in London, England. The Tate Modern has a significant collection of Picasso's works, including paintings from every period of his career. The National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C., USA. The National Gallery of Art has a number of Picasso's paintings, including works from his Blue period, his Rose period, and his Cubist period. The Art Institute of Chicago in Chicago, USA. The Art Institute of Chicago has a collection of Picasso's works, including paintings, sculptures, and prints. These are just a few examples.
Okay. All right. Well, just some little facts. I just think it's a good idea to kind of go over. There's so his life has so many stories behind it. I mean, there's like 1,000 videos on here on him, but I was just looking for something kind of basic and general and not too long. It's easy to go on for an hour about how all of his relationships and all that. I'm just kind of going, can we get back to the art, please? I understand it all has to do with each other, but it's okay. So yeah, the piece we're doing, I would say it's just got bits of everything, right? I mean, it's cubist, it's surrealist, it's almost color field painting, almost geometric abstraction. Look at all the pattern in it too. He's just overlapping. Who knows where he's going with this? So anyway.
And it's a profile and a frontal view of the
Yeah, he
face.
does that. He does that more than once. Yeah. You see that theme recurring. Okay. So let's see where we go here. All right there. Let's make sure we're muted. All right. Thank you. And we can just sort of do ourselves a little value study here. We don't have to put every little detail in here. I just want to go over the basic values. And the bold color in this, though, just incredible. Okay, we've got all kinds of different patterns. Right. I remember I had a great fine arts instructor at Art Center, and he said, what makes a piece of artwork like great or worthy of note, shall we say? We all talked about it, and we came up with the explanation that it offers a window in time. So you're looking at an artist who grasped the the personality of a period in time on canvas. And what I mean, think of all the crazy things that were going on. I mean, the technology, it just went from horse buggies to, in his lifetime, he saw horse buggies to a man on the moon. That is just wild. That is absolutely, and they must have thought, gosh, there's just nothing we can't do. So their work is just extremely adventurous. And that's the way to understand, as far as I try to understand it in that way. I try to understand all art in that way. It works for all art. When I started looking at art that way, because I was an illustrator, and just out of high school, really didn't have all that much understanding, really. So when somebody put it in that perspective, I was like, oh, okay, so it's not just all about skill. Of course, skill has something to do with it, but it's your ability to connect with an audience and personify that period in time. Really, okay, here we go. All right, so let's just put up a mid value there. Kind of a mid value over here, a little bit lighter. And then from this side over here, it's a gradation from dark, and it's a little bit lighter. And then all of this gets just a little bit lighter. And of course, the ground here is very dark, very dark. So while we have this on the brush, let's come around and hit some of the other darks. I got one on the back of the chair here, another one in here, and around.
He really gets a lot in the representing the room, the floor, the ceiling, the back wall, and two side walls.
Yeah, he gets a lot of dimension in there, depth. He's just not using formal rules of perspective to do it.
No.
I mean, he's almost abstracting them, which, I think that's exactly what he was up to. How can we do all this differently?
Now, where the walls and the ceiling meet, that perspective's normal or not?
The walls and the ceiling, pretty, yeah, looks pretty good. I mean, it's kind of going downhill, but those weird rooms at like what do you call those places? Carnivals.
Fun house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looks like a fun house. I mean, hey, looks like fun to me. Okay. All right, we have a whole bunch of dark lines in here. So I'm seeing like, yeah, I think we see all of this. I'm just going to hit these. Maybe in the other one we'll paint the colors first and then hit the dark lines in the finish. That might be the better way to do it. As far as skill goes or approach. We have some darks in here. I'll just put a couple. All right. It's usually better to put in their colors and then outline it, like I'm not doing. Usually. And let's put in some basic values here. So for we have a blue value down here, which is fairly dark. Another one here. This lighter blue over here. Definitely seeing some, yeah. Oh yeah, behind the ear, I got that already. In the hand, you have this lighter greener blue in her hands, which is, I'll just make that a little bit lighter. Just a little bit lighter there. And we have these interesting values in the face. We're getting these nice gradations in the face, which I'm not going to try to get right now. Just looking for basic values. This red, reds are deceiving. I mean, are they light or are they dark? This one's sort of a mid value. I mean, it's about the same value as this blue here. Gosh, and parts of the blue are pretty dark. This green blue on the hand. We'll get into some of these yellows up in here. And then you have this light green blue here, which is about the same value as the yellow right next to it. And this yellow and this yellow. And the yellow in the shirt, or the patterns in the shirt. Any sort of plaid pattern back here. Oof. I won't even try. Green. The red. Maybe a little darker than that. And then all this orange. I mean, really, just a little bit darker than the red. Yeah, the red, see the red's in a very saturated color. And the orange next to it on the hat is not such a saturated orange, but not all that different in value. I mean, I'd say the red's just a touch lighter. All right, some blue eyes there. And some outlining. Yellow lips, very light. I think the pencil is good enough for the outlining. Right. A little bit more of that up in there. Roof. And even though it's very light up here, I wouldn't call it, I mean, I wouldn't call it as white as like what she's holding in her hand here on the ceiling. So. And this violet right in here. Okay. So there's the value study. Let's go to the color study. Because I could kind of do them right next to each other, huh? Okay. And again, we're just mainly trying just to get those colors. not a, we don't want to spend too much time trying to get it exactly like the piece. Just get a good idea of these colors. So our hatch sort of breaks the border there a little bit. And then we go around. And red sleeve here, his lower hand. He kind of divides up into two pieces. I mean, you can really see the influence of African art in his work. And the other hand up in here by the ear. This. Okay. Hmm. Just going to put him in with my pencil. All the stripes. Okay. And well, yeah. So let's just start throwing in some pretty primary colors. Looks to me like a cadmium yellow. Just going to go for it right here. Just start blocking in some cad yellow, very primary in the lips, fingernails.
Why do you think he gave her yellow lips? That she didn't have any lipstick on, maybe?
I don't, have you ever watched any movies of him painting or drawing?
No.
He doesn't think. He doesn't
Huh.
sit there and think anything out. He just goes. The guy's on autopilot. He just goes. He's an absolute monster when it comes to painting. I mean, he could turn out paintings like this so fast it would make your eye, it would just make you spin.
Huh. So he probably just wanted yellow there.
I don't think he's even thinking. I think he's so on autopilot, he just goes.
Okay.
Juxtaposition of color,
Yeah.
but he's just the guy, he's on autopilot. That's all I have to say. I've seen pictures of, little movies of him drawing. And I think if anybody said anything to him, he probably wouldn't even answer. He's just lost in a trance. It's a good way to be when you're doing work on this of this kind. I mean, it's not logical. It's not trying to be. I think it just shows us how you can just watch a kid do art too. They do the same thing. Yeah, Louis little touches of yellow in there. Okay. Right. We got some blue. We got the kind of ultramarine blue. I'll just use that. I have to clean this blue up. There we go. Some blue up behind her ear. Ultramarine and in her hand. And the arm. Got a little dark on me. Down here. A little in here. Eyes. And even in the background, it gets a little bit grayer blue. So if we add a little touch of orange, just a little bit of orange to that blue in the background, that'll gray it. And then we got over here, we've got still a grayer blue, but lighter. It's kind of a violet too. I'm gonna use ultramarine and a little bit of magenta on this big swatch of blue here. It's just a little bit more magenta in this one. And here too on her sleeve, but lighter. Okay. A really deep burgundy color in the background. So I'll use cad red and magenta together. We'll just add a little bit of the Prussian blue to that. That's how that works. Yeah, could be just a little bit more cad red in that. All right. And what else? Well, under these two circles here, I want to put like a really dark green. Prussian blue and a little bit of cad yellow, but mostly Prussian blue. And then we take that color and add more cad yellow to it. No, that's not the color I wanted. Prussian blue and lemon yellow. Let's see, for her hair. Let's see if I can get that green. I think my Prussian blue has got some red in it. So dark I can't see it. I'm not getting the color I want. That's getting there. All right, there we go. Good. All right, some reds.
Rob,
Yes.
what was the green again?
Prussian blue and lemon yellow. Yeah. I would say like 25% Prussian blue.
Okay.
Yeah, not 50-50 for sure. And somebody used cad red on her sleeve. Back here. And definitely over here. And up in here. Cad red's fine. That's a very saturated, almost looks like the computer's really breaking that color off. But if you have a more saturated red than cad red, go ahead and sometimes have these. Yeah, that's a very orangey red, so maybe cad red light on that. And there's not a lot of orange, but there's some orange in her hat. Cad red, cad yellow. And underneath. And then all this blue green. So if you have a turquoise, that would work well. Maybe a turquoise with a little bit of lemon in it. The Prussian blue with a little lemon in it. And I mean, for this color right here, you're going to want mostly Prussian blue with very little lemon in it. All right, so. And the same color in her face, but just much lighter. And I see something very, very, very light under here. Some pretty similar color. The white here, the reds, and a lot of blacks. I think the blacks are okay to leave out. All right. Feels pretty good to me for a study. There's some very light blue in the hat, I guess. Could put that in there. And oh yeah, if you want to take a photo, there you go. Is that being covered up by the, let me move this over a little bit. That way my face won't overlap them. Okay, there you go. I'm just using Arches 140, but you could use the multimedia. In fact, the multimedia is really good. I notice it's the color's not getting too absorbed into it. That's actually really good. I'm wondering if that's going to actually be better. All right, I think I'll just stick with what I have. Hope I don't regret it. And sometimes for those really vibrant colors, when you lay it down with a lot of water, you can get kind of faded. All right, let's see where we're going with this now. I might be a little long on this composition, so. There we go. Let's see now. Whoops. Okay. We're just going to kind of put that in there. No. I mean, I don't think it matters if you're a little off on this. I mean, you can sit there and try to get it all perfect, but I don't even know if that's really grasping what he was after. I mean, like I say, there's a forgery and then there's a copy, right? I mean, the copy is a learning experience. The forgery is really trying to get it to look like a Picasso. I remember I did a really nice Van Gogh copy when I was in school, and I had a teacher say, there's a market, because I can introduce you to some people I mean, not for forgery, but I mean, because what a lot of people do is when they buy a really expensive piece of artwork, they'll have an artist do a painting of it, like basically a forgery. You really almost can't tell the difference. And then they'll hang that up in their house, and they'll put the nice painting in a vault because it's just too much money to risk. Because I really got into that Van Gogh. I mean, I think he thought, oh, Rob really likes doing these. Okay. Anyway, I think I took probably a little too far with the whole accuracy thing. I could have gone a lot farther and tried to figure out exactly what kind of linen or canvas they were using at the time. And, some of these forgers were actually by the canvas. a canvas from that period. There we go. So it looks like they're working on the old canvas. So I guess when they try to date it or something, they can't. I don't know. That's an engineering task, really. Not something I'm interested in. But I say, maybe might be a good living for an artist, pay some bills. When they say any kid could do that kind of artwork, I don't know what he would say on something like that, but I know he was really after trying to find that inner child. That which makes a lot of sense. No. Because when you're a designer, you look at the way he's designing color, and that really does take some doing. All right, so we got this arm here. This one going up, and you might even take it as a compliment, knowing that somebody's trying to, besmirch him or something, you probably go, oh, thank you. Although I heard the little guy had a temper. That's what the legends say. Okay, we got this one. I don't know, when you try to do this kind of artwork and then you look at what he did, you're like, that's pretty dang good. Really takes giving yourself some time to investigate what were they after? Here's one more circular. And you could probably do some line work first and then come back into all this. I don't know if it really matters. Look how thin the neck is. Way in there.
Rob,
Yeah.
I'm noticing that everything is outlined in black.
Yeah.
So are you going to start with that outlining?
I was going to lay in, see, I think, because a lot of the lines they're not really pen and ink. So if I lay the black first and then I put the color in, I think it'll leak in. But if I put down the colors first and then and then come back with some dark lines over them. I mean, you can see where he's working it back and forth,
Okay,
but I think let's lay down the colors first. That's what I'm going to do. This one. And for maybe some of these really finer lines, you might want to actually use a pen, or if you have a brush pen, maybe that would work well. There's a lot of different ways to do it. Oh, very good. Okay. Very good. So I think first, just start laying in some colors. I'll just start off with the background here. Kind of a light gray blue. So again, take your ultramarine blue, add a little bit of cad red and cad yellow to it. Should try lighter too. Oh, here, it's pretty light. Just a little bit darker up here in this top. We have to come back and reinforce that again. He does some yellow things around the edges too, which are nice. He may have actually drawn it in with that color. Kind of a raw umber or something. Really light on the top here. And then in between, again, it's still red, yellow, and blue, but 95% yellow. Cad yellow, cad red, and just a little bit of ultramarine blue. And just touch little touches of it in there. Nice for edges. I see it all in here. A little red in there once in a while. I see it in here too. And even what he's doing with edges here, I mean, I've seen, Wayne Thiebaud do the same thing with edges. I wonder if he got that from Picasso or Matisse. I know he was obsessed with Matisse. So, like I say, these artists gave generations of artists just carte blanche, go for it. Whatever you like. There you go. Darker. In there. Same color, just did darker there. And I could see that maybe a little bit redder. I don't want to get too. There we go. A little taste of that. And then this deep sort of burgundy, so the cad red. Magenta. And a little bit of Prussian blue. A little bit more. Yeah. One more Prussian blue in that. There we go. Great colors. And I wonder if he, let me look a little closer at this. Yeah, they're pretty much black in the figure. Oh, okay, cool. Like under here looks like black with green stripes. I thought it was green with black stripes, sort of. Huh. And then the same thing here. Okay. Well, I think we could lay green down and put black stripes on it. Let's take a vote. No. Okay. Yeah, maybe, let's see. Start off with yellow. Let's start off with cad yellow. And, in this particular case, it's a good idea to really clean your cad yellow up or squeeze out some new stuff. You're looking at a pretty solid color, so I just really clean it up. Just getting the other colors I mixed on and off it. And yeah, there we go. Okay, yeah, cad yellow. It's almost all cad yellow. I mean, I'd say this up here does look a little bit lighter. So, if you wanted to go with a little lemon in that, I could see that. Little lemon. There we go. Yeah, like that. And down here, it looks a little bit lighter. Yeah, he takes a little white into there too. God, what makes someone do that? Like it shimmers or something. Maybe he actually saw that in her actual dress. These look more cadmium red, see a little bit more orange. Maybe even the slightest touch of red in that, huh? Gets a little bit more orangey in this yellow. I'm gonna throw just a little bit of cad red in that over here. And fingernails. Kind of orangish. Maybe not that dark, huh? And And then our hat gets pretty orange. Cad red, cad yellow. Oops. Okay, I'm going to go for some red. It's a really intense red, so yeah. I might even be, do I have that color? Maybe I'm putting it on too heavy. But I like it. I'll go with it. I think in this, yeah, let's do it this way. Get all this. With some violets. Get in your sleeve. And down here in the square, dark violet, kind of a lighter violet. So I'm going to use magenta and ultramarine blue. There's a good one for this. Oh, I know that red's going to leak right into it. Oh, wow. Up in here, lighter. And then I'm going to go for the ultramarine blue in the hand, behind the ear, back of the chair, a little down here. So ultramarine blue. And if you think a cobalt or something like that works better, go ahead. They're not I mean, this blue back here is a little bit different, so let's see. Yeah. There's a blue. Oh. This one. And the hand. There's a little different color blue back here. Lighter. May add just a little bit of Prussian to it. Green in her hair. Not quite their color I wanted. A little blue green. I wanted Prussian blue and lemon yellow. Maybe a little bit darker, a little more Prussian. Doesn't take much. Hmm. Anywhere else you might want to see some blue? I mean, a green, I see a little bit of green up in here. I'm just gonna fade it. Just a little bit of water on this edge. See a little bit of green in here. And I'll do the same thing. Just a little bit of water. Fade it. And the hands are more turquoise. So if you have turquoise, use that. Prussian blue with a little bit of lemon yellow will work just fine too. I'm a little on the dark side here. Let me blot to this. There we go, and just thin it out a little bit. This reminds me, when I was doing those murals a long time ago, I used to do the Mardi Gras. I used to do these murals that went on the Mardi Gras floats and all over the place, went in wherever they needed them. And we'd do all kinds of, and one of the ladies that worked for us actually lived in Nolans there for a little while. And she's from there. And she originally came out because of that, because she came out to California and actually worked on those floats. So then she sort of helped us out. And wow, watching her paint was like amazing. She just totally uninhibited with that paint. Big giant brushes, big bold colors. It was really fun. Really a lot of fun to do. I think it kind of changed me too as an artist. Just because I was so not hyper real, but as far as like murals went, I because I really couldn't do my impressionistic stuff. Very rarely anyway. I had to do the really very realistic stuff. And then once in a while we get to do this really stylistic stuff. And so then later on, years later, I was an art director at another place, and I got this job to do this to do Santana's sets. And we did it just like the Mardi Gras. And so I called Annette up. Annette and Michelle, these two artists, they were just amazing. And we all did them together. We really just sort of had a party for a couple of weeks. That's all it was. Every day was just like, psh. We blow out a huge mural in a day. Just painting like this, really big and bold. Imagine doing something like this, but with brushes that are 6 inches wide. And you're not painting with your wrist like this, you're painting with your whole arm. Like an eye was this big, So it's actually a lot of fun. And you can be so much looser when you're painting bigger.
Look, I'm feeling very loose just doing this because
Yeah.
if it isn't exactly like Picasso, he probably would say, go with it, roll with it.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm going to say, he said.
That's right. Roll with it. I'm gonna put a dark green under here. Thin that out a little bit. Maybe a little bit darker than that. And down here. And this right in between the two yellows, there's very, very, very light paint. I need to get most of that off. There we go. Okay. All right. The eyes. Just going to go with ultramarine blue. And I probably missed some color somewhere, but that's good enough. And start striping it. You know, they're not really perfect stripes either. They're really got lots of thicks and thins in them, so I wouldn't worry about trying to get them all perfect. What have we got? Black here. Black or Prussian blue and red. Maybe I'll some black here. Now, I thought about using my brush pen. I have this brush pen and probably work well, but I don't know. You know, sometimes to get the actual water to paint ratio, I prefer a brush, just a regular brush. And when you get used to something, I mean, I could try a brush pen, but oh, I like this. Okay. So as I say here, I really got to get that dark. Get a lot of paint on there. That's better. Maybe I'll give it a try. Let me try the brush pen. It's India ink, so I don't know if that's. Well, it's not bad. A little heavy. I forgot to do the hat. Got to put the color on the hat. I'll come back and get it later. About the same. Sure. How about the little tangent where the finger meets the neck here? Oh, it looks like it's pushing on her neck. A scratch.
Yeah, it's just touching the neck, huh? With a little pressure, huh?
Yeah. It's not such a, sometimes he gets a really clean line and sometimes he's just, it's kind of clumsy. And so I would just notice that he just does it in different ways. I love like on the collar here, he just touches little areas, just really just, what's he even doing? And then over here on this, he just hits him really hard.
Maybe the brush was running out of paint.
Yeah. Well,
Is that too simple?
huh? I don't know. I don't think, like I said, I don't think he would think about it too much. Pretty amazing watching him though. I think I I know he's known as being this really big jerk in real life. They said that's how he's portrayed. I don't know. I certainly wasn't there, but I think when he was painting, from the videos I've seen, he looked like he was like in a state of relaxation, just moving ahead. He looked kind of content painting.
This reminds me of a queen in playing cards.
Yeah, yeah, it does, huh? Yeah, that same strange vantage point, perspective. Yeah. I wonder if playing cards have always had that strange looking queen on there, or if they just started doing that in modern times. That would mean they've been doing cubism all along.
Yeah, maybe it was a Picasso influence.
Yeah. You see some white lines on her too. I'll come back with some white. Yeah, later. So there's always corrections and stuff. So get some of those. Oh. Oh, I see. Oh, this bottom one, you know, you can see the lines go right into each line down here. So it goes from the yellow through the green to the purple. It's all the same line. Oh boy, it's a long line. I see it now. Kind of wobbly line too. So I'm gonna make it wobbly. Just kind of stutter paint it like this. Back, do, 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 do. Some of them are pretty thin too. This style though, huh? Look at all of the liberties taken here. Just to stylize the way a person looks in their face. I mean, that's pretty bold.
He just had a vivid imagination.
Yeah. I don't think people were used to seeing anyone that creative. And being brought up in the 60s and 70s when I was a kid, all I remember is teachers saying, creativity, creativity, be creative. And then later it became this skill thing. And I was just really a creative artist as a kid. And then it was just all skill. Like in high school, and was not as creative. I mean, it was like I wanted to be creative, but there wasn't any I don't know, all the shows we were in and weren't promoting it as much. Not until I got back into college and got a little further that did it pick it up again. It was just weird. It's weird though. Even in a lot of times, even in the really skillful stuff, you can get pretty darn creative with your ideas. I mean, like surrealism was definitely a thing I would do. Because you could still be pretty realistic. I love Salvador Dali, no question about it. I really loved abstraction quite a bit. I always did. That was some serious meditation in that line quality there. Let's see, let me zoom in on this. Yeah. Takes it and runs it this way. And he does the same thing with these lines. He just continues the line right into the next one. Yeah. It goes all the way up here, huh? I think the lines on the purple are purple. Let's see. Oh, a deep dark purple. Sure did love a line. Maybe um, some white lines. A little bit of this up here first. Some wherever you might see some white. Oops, I forgot to hit these ones. Okay, and white. Maybe a little right here. Right back here, they get kind of white. And here. I know that guy pulls a little white right in, making this kind of shimmer a little bit. You pulls a little bit up into these too. Anywhere you might see it. All right. I'll call that an ECO. A little bit darker back here. All right, I think that's about it. Where do you sign it? Oh, I'll just sign it Picasso. All right, that was fun. Did I say 10 minutes? So 11:38. It's 11:48. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, we have some. Let's get going here. Screen share. Make sure I'm recording. Okay, good. Yolanda. Hi, Yolanda.
Hello.
Looky, looky. It looks very nice.
Thank you. Loved it.
She looks very enamored with herself. She's sort of, yes.
Yeah. It's like looking at a mirror.
Yeah. Look at that. Oh, so you use some pen and ink, or how'd you do the lines?
Some of it, yes, with the pen and ink. I did do some with the brush as best I could, but
Yeah.
yeah, I decided I didn't want to do the dark floor just to let her stand out a tad more. But
It's true. Yeah.
it was a lot of fun with the colors, and
Right. The lines too around it will make her stand out anyway. So
right. And it was nice. Studying how he put the pillow behind her, the chair, and it just nice composition, and
yeah,
yeah,
and beautiful colors.
yeah, red, yellow, blue.
There you go.
That's right.
And then what? You got orange, green, and violet.
And the violet. So it's a perfect ending for a
Come on a
great
second.
season.
Yeah, actually
Thank you.
true. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Very nicely done.
Thank you.
An excellent ending, shall we say. Okay. Daphne, there you go. It's got a beautiful look to it. You know, the way you're using the watercolor too has a very kind of effortless looking look to it.
Thank you.
And quite fun. So is this done pretty small, or how big is it?
It's like 4x6 or
Okay,
5x7, 5x7 probably.
And you're using a like an ink pen, or are you using a brush?
A Sharpie for some of it and a brush for some of it. That's all I had.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful. Yeah, again, she's got that look in her eye, huh?
yeah, I just love all the colors, and I'm terrible at being accurate, so I didn't have to worry so much at this one.
You got the gist of it.
Right.
How did you like the idea of laying down color and then maybe coming over it with the line?
Yeah, that made a lot more sense. Definitely.
I mean, can you imagine if we put the line down first? You can do it, but you better hit it on the first shot when you lay down the color over the top, because it's going to get all leaky. But this looks good.
I also attached,
Pattern.
just for fun, a Picasso print that I have. So it
Oh,
was
you
my
did?
next email. It's just fun because
Oh.
it's 3 colors only.
Oh, that's a print, a lithograph, huh?
Yeah. And it's just those 3 colors. And I just
Beautiful.
love it. It's so
And,
simple and so effective.
and you own it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I got it at an auction at John Moran. Pay attention to John Moran.
Huh.
Oh,
It was only like $50. It was really
50.
Yeah. I wonder what it's worth now.
Maybe you ought to get it appraised.
It was done, I guess, February 25th, 1911, huh? 25/2/11 at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice.
Anyway, I just thought that might
Yeah.
be fun for people to see.
Very beautiful and playful.
Yeah. I love the dancers.
Reminds me of Matisse too. And kind of,
Exactly.
well, they did do a lot of, I don't know if they did, if you knew that, but I don't know if Matisse ever borrowed from Picasso, but I know Picasso did a lot of borrowing from Matisse. Matisse was pretty irritated about the whole thing too. Anyway, all right. Thank you. I'm sorry. Who am I looking at here? Lily. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Nice colors. I love this. Look at this color down here. You got a little bit of blue shooting through there. Little red violet, blue violet. Yeah, that's a great looking piece with your lines done. See, I didn't realize that he actually took all the lines all the way through the whole thing. Overall, I thought he did each little thing individually. So anyway. Yeah, nice looking plaid pillow in the background. He sure did like pattern, didn't he?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I never appreciated him before, but
Yeah.
after this session, I appreciate him a lot more. Yeah.
Well, good. Yeah, you know, if you just take him on on the basis of just style and creativity, and note that, you know, you can even see by his early things he's a trained classical artist, but he wasn't trying to do that. He was trying to go off into the hemispheres, you know.
I think
It's a
he
great
was
place to.
always upset that he was trained so young, that he didn't really have a time to express his childhood desires.
Hmm. Yeah, that would be tough. I had the opposite problem. Never had that problem. All right. Thank you, Lily. Nice work.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I'm glad you appreciate him now.
Yeah.
That's worth it. That's worth taking the class. All right, Bob, what do you have too? Oh,
Yeah, I sent you the second one because it was an exercise on my part. As you can see, I just whited out the outline.
uh-huh.
And you get without altering anything else other than adding the left nostril,
Yeah.
you get a full on expressive face.
Yeah.
And that was fascinating to me, the way he just, basically rendered the face as it would appear normally, and then cut it back with an outline.
Right. I found the outlining helped me quite a bit. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful colors.
Well, I worked on watercolor paper with a Sharpie, and then laid the colors in over that.
Oh, over it. Oh, okay. I see. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why they're getting a little yellow. I see. Yeah.
Right, because I knew that the watercolor would be transparent. So but it was a wonderful exercise, to study his proportion and his shapes and how everything fit together and the attitude that he created. Just fascinating.
Yeah. Nice line and pattern. Really pointing the direction to abstraction. I mean, there's no reason why a person, after they've done something like this, to say, hey, why do I need to represent anything at all?
Yeah.
Just let's just play with abstraction.
Yeah.
Shape, value, color, pattern, line. Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun to do something like this because it's like drawing with your left hand if you're right-handed.
Yeah.
It forces you to change up immediately, different point of view, different perspective.
Uh-huh. Very nice. Thank you, Bob.
Good exercise. Thanks,
Yeah.
Rob.
You're welcome. I'm glad. There's Betsy.
Sorry.
Okay, look at that. Wow.
Yeah, I was amazed. I never really appreciated Picasso either,
But when drawing this, all the lines flow together. It's really designed. It's designed more than you would ever believe.
Yeah, right. So not any little kid could just do it. You know, I mean, there are kids that can, though. It's amazing how good some kids are, such good designers. But yeah, no, it's pretty darn well designed, especially from a designer's point of view, like you. Yeah, great looking line. I like it. I like how you got her kind of sitting deep in the chair, you know, kind of kicking back in there. Feels like she's sitting down in the chair. And her eyes look really alive.
It's scary. Yeah.
Dimensional.
Yeah.
You put dimensional, like 3D eyes on a 2D body, and it's scaring me. No, I'm just no. They're good though. Yeah, I like your line too. You're in and out. Well, you love a line anyway, so.
Yeah. And it was kind of following the contour of a body. So even though he's doing these flat shapes, he's really playing around with the curves of the body. It was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good. Well, good. I'm glad. I'm glad you got something out of it. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
no, it's great. Thank you.
That's what I say. You know, if we all get just a little something out of each one, that's something you can take away from each one. You shouldn't expect to get a whole lot out of each one. But if you can walk away with one or two little things, little niblets, that's a lot. That's like, 10 or 20 niblets in a session. And that's a lot of niblets.
Hi.
All right, Henry, look at that. Pretty loose Picasso there. Look at all those colors.
Yeah, it's the first time using Sumi to copy Picasso.
Well, I think that would be something he would definitely do.
Yeah.
I love your loose line. Wow.
I saw his ink paintings. He's inspired by the Eastern painting as well as African, I think.
Where?
I can email you some ink painting he did. In his,
Okay, sure. Anytime.
Yeah.
Picasso by Henry.
Sumi painting, I mean. Yeah.
It's a great looking study. And it's funny, I can see your personality in it, and I can see what he was doing in it. I mean, it just looks like, it tells me that it's a study of a Picasso by Henry. You know what I mean? I can see the Henry in it. I can see your signature in every stroke.
Yeah, that's a very compliment. I really appreciate that.
That's what happens when you paint for a long time. You just get these characteristics. And when you look at somebody's artwork for a long time, now I've been looking at your artwork for years now, and I can see the little nuances, So when someone tries to copy a Henry, I'll be like, hey, excuse me. I don't think so. I know that guy, man. He didn't paint like that. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, nice looking line. Look at you. All your lines are kind of natural and creative and tapered. They pull on the ends.
Yeah, I used the soft Chinese brush.
Yeah, definitely. Beautiful. All right.
Okay, this is your last lesson, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That reminds me, everybody. Next week we start the new session. So if you're going to sign up for the next one,
I will.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll see you next one.
All right. Thanks, Henry.
Thank you, Rob.
I mean, if you have to wait to the last minute to do it, maybe you're trying to schedule things. That's okay, but try to do it a little early, because if you can, just a little early, because when I put them all out, what happens is that I'll mail out all of the details, what do you call it? The calendar, the dates. What do you? Oh yeah, and the link and all that stuff. When I mail that out, what happens at the end is I get like 10 or 20 people signing up at the very end, and then I have to send them all individually instead of all in one. Anyway, it gets to be a lot. Okay. So I'd appreciate that.